Hello and welcome to another episode of My Shepherd's Journal. Today I'm trying to talk about the water cycle. Last time I tried to talk about the soil in general, but I noticed that there was too much to talk about and not enough time. So I'll just focus on each thing, one episode, one new thing. So today it's the water cycle. The next will be another topic. So first of all, I'd like to explain how the soil holds water together. So the soil holds water together with microorganisms, with the help of microorganisms, because bacteria, fungi, and earthworms, they exudate gluey, slimy, carbon-rich stuff that holds together the soil, sand, and silk particles. This is called aggregates. These are called aggregates afterwards. And these aggregates are tied up by fungi hives and root hairs into a porous structure that filters and holds water. So then let's look a bit at the water cycle where I'm herding right now. Well, as you can see, it's a monoculture of pine trees. So in a forest, usually the water cycle works quite well. Why? Well, because the soil is always covered. Here it's covered with pines, as you can see. So the water, when it drops onto the soil surface, it doesn't flow away. It gets soaked in to the cover of the pine. Up. As you can see, it's still very moist under there, and then it holds in there. Up. There you go. So then again, now in the forest, I think this water cycle is pretty good because the soil is always covered. So what you really don't want is an uncovered soil, because with an uncovered soil, all the particles that are not bound together, they just wash away, because there's no roots to help to keep them, no fungi hive to keep them. Even if there are microorganisms in the soil, they can't hold it together as well as when it would be covered. So how can I help the soil to be covered, to hold the water and to absorb it with those animals, with those four-legged ruminants? Well, what I would try to do is I would try to always keep the soil covered. So I would try to let them trample down grass, so the grass covers the soil. I wouldn't worry much about not that they not eat it, because it's not only them that you need to feed. It's also the microorganisms in the soil that you need to feed to keep in the water that we really need in the soil. So it's not only about feeding the sheep or the cattle or whatever kind of ruminants you have. It's also about feeding the other organisms that live around them and in them and all around everywhere. So yeah, just keep the soil covered, feed everyone, and not only your sheep or your cattle or whatever you have. The first episode I was talking about how I could hold the sheep together to get them to trample down all this vegetation, because I had problems with only one dog. So now a friend of us lent me her dog, and today he is working with me, and he keeps them together all day without me telling him to do anything. Wait, let me show you. He's called Duke. There you can see, I hope. He's there, and he holds this line constantly without me telling him to. Okay, so this is the end of today's herding. My messages would be today maybe just keep the ground covered. Don't only think about what your big animals need, but also maybe what your little animals need that are on your farm or anywhere on you or inside you, wherever. So yeah, look at the whole. Thanks for watching, and yeah, see you next week maybe.